Welcome to Hot Topics from the Soul. I'm your host, Dr. Valerie Parker Hagan, and I have my co host.
And good evening, Dr. J.R. Thickman with you here on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Man, I'm telling you, what a month that we're off to.
Absolutely. Guess what? It's May, it's Mother's Day, there's graduations, plenty of birthdays. But
Absolutely.
I wanted you to know in the month of May, you are worthy of love.
Absolutely. And that's interesting. The old saying said, April showers bring May flowers. So definitely, if any month that we ought to be talking about love blossoming and those things, it ought to be this month here because people need to be reminded that they are worthy of love, and that love needs to be something that is received as well as given.
Yes, and not only that, June is next month, summer's coming. So a lot of women in particular start getting all humdum and feeling all kind of ways because of the fact that if they're single, don't have anyone in their life, and then they're thinking about the vacation time and they don't have a significant other. So there's a depression that seeps in with individuals if they're not in a relationship. But I want you to know that regardless of what it looks like, you're worthy of love. I don't even care how old you are. Love
Exactly.
comes at different stages and ages.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I think that it's so important that people do not allow, and I know it's different from women and men. Women basically are on a clock; they're on a biological clock. Men are not necessarily on that clock. So a lot of times, as a woman is getting older and there's no one significant in her life or whatever, sometimes she can feel almost as if her life is wasted. There's not any value, there's not any significance, but I want to encourage every woman out there and every person out there that you're still worthy of love no matter what. And the thing about it is that the real question is who's worthy of your love. So don't feel like you're discarded or put on the shelf. It just simply means that look, your time may have not come around yet, but that doesn't mean that you can't love on yourself. It doesn't mean that you can't choose to love on others. It simply means the fact that in this mixing, in this process of you being processed, it's just that time. You're being made.
Yeah, and not only that, Dr. J, individuals want to be loved and want that romance and want to feel the butterflies, but you don't always feel butterflies when you're in love with someone. It comes in stages, and it comes by getting to know that person, and you become one in emotion. And a lot of times you can't get that emotion and that love that you desire, that you depict on and see on television,
Right.
as it for it to be your reality. Hallmark shows aren't always what it's wrapped up to be. And we'll look at Hallmark and be like, oh, I want that to happen and this and that. And then you look at the different dramas and how they like playing hard to get and all this on there. And then you make that your reality. And then when it doesn't pan out like that, realizing that everybody's an individual and they require different things in order to captivate them. So be yourself, but be your loving self is the key. Because a lot of times, women have attitudes. I know I can talk from that perspective. When you have your monthly going on, and then all of a sudden, you become grouchy and don't want to be bothered with nobody.
Mhm.
So life happens, and yeah, you do go through stages in your life, but let it be a better version of who you are. Don't allow you to stay bitter because of a past relationship or what someone else did to you and bring that into the relationship. You have to stand up in power and in love.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. A lot of time people have different coping mechanism, and sometimes they're very poor coping mechanism. Some people, when they go through things, a breakup, a pain or loss, they withdraw into a shell. They withdraw into a shell. Sometimes they become depressed. Other people become very angry. They become bitter. They feel this sense of retaliation or this sense they got to guard themselves, or you can hear it out of their speech where they're always talking negative about, everybody's a dog and nobody's worthy of this and there's no. And so they begin to manifest the pain out of their mouth. But they don't understand that as they're manifesting it out of their mouth, they're also shaping their own attitudes toward it. You are going to attract what you put out, and you're going to attract that. So one of the things that we have to understand is that love does hurt. It shouldn't hurt, but it does hurt. It hurts when it's pulled from under you unexpectedly. It hurts when it's been betrayed. It hurts when it's been manipulated. It hurts when it's being unappreciated. So it does hurt. But here's the thing about it. Inside of love, understand something about love. Love is also one of those things that rises. It rises above the situation and circumstances. Love has a way of finding that, what I like to call that path of forgiveness, that path of renewal, that path that says that, you know what, this isn't the final say so. Sometime when we go through things in relationships, we will put a period where it was only meant to be a comma. Mm-hmm. Maybe I need to pause. Maybe I need to think. Maybe I need to reevaluate some things here. And sometimes as a result of that evaluation, we can become our better selves, because there are times that there are certain things I honestly believe divinely that God is orchestrating. And so sometimes, people get upset. They feel like they're being rejected and thrown away. And sometimes it's not that you're being rejected. Sometimes you're being protected. Sometimes God is protecting you and he's not necessarily rejecting you. And so if you can really receive that, the message that you have to tell yourself is that I'm still worthy. I still have value. But anything that has value or that you value, what do? You take care of it. Mm-hmm. You take care of it.
And we really need to reevaluate what expectations that we really are looking for in a partner, and what is it that we want reciprocated to us. And I'm talking to those that are married too.
Absolutely.
I say try being the other woman to your husband, or to that lover in your life. Be that other woman. The other woman, they don't nag. They show up and they're smiling. They show up wanting to have fun. They show up wanting to rub that head. They show up wanting to tell you just how wonderful and magnificent you are. Sometimes get into that role of that other woman, because that's what they get on the outside that they're not getting in the inside. Sometimes we get comfortable in our marriages and our relationships that we forget the love that started those. Because like I say, the butterflies will dissipate, and sometimes the butterflies won't happen, but it will happen during the relationship or the marriage, because when that person is apart from you, then you long to see them and want them. So there's different stages again. So try showing up, not being that nagger, not being bitter, not being angry, not always being confrontational, and see what that individual is desiring of you, and then let that communication be what you desire. But a lot of times what happens is we don't know what we want.
And you're exactly right. And I like what you just said there. Sometimes we have to make up in our mind that it's not always about just us. It is reciprocal feeling. Sometimes we need to be mindful and thoughtful of how the other person might be feeling. And sometimes we have to understand, what is our assigned role right now in this person's life? We can't always want to be on the receiving end. It is one of the things that we often say, and I hear a lot of time especially with female conversation, where they're looking for the perfection. I want the guy who's exactly like this, and I wanted to, and we live in a day and time where there's so many mixed messages that comes at you, messages about, they got to have six figures and they got to do all these things. You can have six figures and be broke emotionally. They can have six figures and you're totally devoid of real affection, real love and understanding, because sometimes it is shallow. It is shallow. And it's based upon what? Superficial thing. And at the end of the day, when you really give yourself permission to love and to be loved, what will happen is this, that you discover things about yourself. You ever thought about it? If God sent you someone perfect, just totally perfect, then what role do you play?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what is your role? Because I don't believe anybody comes totally perfect. Now, you said whole, that's a different thing. But when I say perfect, is the fact that you've got to understand if that person is totally perfect, then you got to ask yourself, then what do you bring to them?
Absolutely. A lot of people don't want to bring anything to the table. They want everything to be for them, which is a selfish way to even be in a relationship. I was talking to one of my besties, a dear friend of mine, and we were discussing prenup. And we were saying, uh, prenup should be changed to pre-estate planning. I mean, and it made perfect sense. And it's an easier way to say, let's come together and see what we have and see what we can build from there. But a lot of times, one person or the other doesn't have an idea, don't have a clue, don't have anything to bring to the table. You don't have money, you don't have emotion, you don't have love, you just want. So, a lot of times, we're not in relationships because of the fact that there's work that has to be done for us. There's work. There is work that needs to be manifested in us. And that person that will gravitate to you because of the fact that they notice that there's a wholeness about who you are. They'll notice that
I
there's a
love it.
purpose in who you are. So that's what makes two become one, the functioning of premarital real estate and emotion.
You're exactly right. And see, here's the thing. When you're afraid to have those type conversations, what it says is that you don't come in with a mindset of investment. You don't come in with a mindset of really what are we building for the future. You're about here and now, and that's what you are. And everything is not, because one of the beautiful thing about it is being able to build something. Because in building, it really reveals things about each other. In building, you
Absolutely.
understand about togetherness. You understand about unity. You understand about selfish versus selfless. You understand about sacrifice and commitment. You understand about vision. And what does that mean? You understand about the fact of being able to imagine. You talk about having a vision board. What does that look like when we come together? But if we have been so scarred and so scarred and hurt in previous relationships that we have not dealt with it, untreated trauma, untreated trauma and untreated things in our life. What happens is that we do have a jaded perception of things. We don't trust anybody. You getting close. I think you're trying to get some out of me. I always think that you're out to get me. I can't enjoy what I have because I'm too busy being, if you would, this nervous wreck of walking in this fear about what might happen.
Right.
You cannot operate that way. And one of the things about it, you have to define, where you are and what you're doing. What are we in this for? There are people that have walked away or have allowed great opportunities to slip them by because of the fact they were jaded. How were they jaded? They were jaded in their mindset because the person did not fit a certain image or a certain profile. And sometimes why is those profile and images there? It's nothing but for optics.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way it looks to you or the way that you think it looks to others. But at the end of the day, looks can be deceiving. At the end of the day, how are you being handled? How are you handling? How are you being perceived? How are you perceiving? How are you in giving? How are you in receiving? All of that's important because sometimes when you're jaded and you're hurt, you don't even know how to receive anymore. You're so suspect. And unfortunately, ladies, I mean, yeah, I see it all the time. So some have been so hurt and so jaded they can't even accept a compliment. I mean, if you say something, very nice dress you wear, child, he was trying to holler at me. No, I was trying to holler at you. They just give me a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
Then if
Yeah,
they
we
want,
don't even know how to take compliments from each other,
right,
and it's so sad that, one woman can't say you look lovely or you look beautiful or you're a
right.
beautiful queen and nothing without some pre expectations of what that means. Are you flirting with me? Are you trying to get, I don't go that way. And instead of just taking a compliment for what it is, but a lot of times we misdiagnose a
Yes.
person's comment or compliment towards us and build this reality that really doesn't exist.
You know what? Help me out with this, Dr. Val, because I find it to be very interesting. And I watch people over a period of time. One thing, I often talk about, having grown up with six sisters and five of them being older than I am. My perspective about females is just a little different. More comfortable around them. It isn't strange for me. Inside of that, I understand what it means to be platonically in a friendship with someone. I understand all those things there. But what is always so striking to me, however, is this: is the mixed messages that some women send. Why go through the whole point of getting all made up, getting all glamorous, and then you thinking that's an offense because someone said you're looking nice? Please help me out. Please help me out.
Yeah.
Why go through all that and then become offended or act like somebody just took something from you? Sometimes it's a matter of a person just noticing you. And stop it. You want to be noticed. Yes, you do. You want to be acknowledged. One of the main complaints that you have when you were in a relationship, they act like I don't exist. Well, look, somebody acknowledge you. Okay, you're there. You're not a cutout cardboard. There, you're an actual human being. Don't be so rigid and so frigid that you are not even available to receive a compliment.
Right. A lot of people are unavailable emotionally.
Exactly.
And and a lot of times, Dr. J, they'll miss a person that's right before them because
All
they're
the time.
so caught up in their imagination of a relationship that does not exist with somebody else. They're thinking, if this person smiled at them or winked at them or said, Dr. J, if you told me that I look great and, so on and so forth. And then I took that as, oh, he likes me. And then he just giving a compliment. But then
Right.
there's someone that's really interested in you, but you're so caught up in your emotion with this person that has no idea that you even have a interest in them,
Right.
and you miss your moment. You miss the opportunity to be with that person that you're assigned to be with because you're so caught up in your emotion, or you're blocked in this situation emotionally with something that will never be because you're afraid to be open to the possibilities of someone really actually loving you simply because of who you are, not because what you have, not because what you look like. Because a lot of women, they put so much onto what they look like exterior. Oh, I gotta
Right.
lose some weight. Oh, I know I had this thing where I was always, Dr. J, I was like, dang, I'm so skinny. I was always trying to gain
Yeah.
some weight because I was in a two forever. Now I'm married and I'm like in a six, a strong six. When I walked out, I was in a four, and I was like, "Oh, I'm wearing a four." I was so happy. Now I'm trying to get out of this six and go back to the four. I was
Exactly. It's finding that place of contentment. It's finding that place because I find out this. I think a lot of time it also comes with maturity. It comes with
Mhm.
understanding life, understanding. I think at the end of the day, it's this: how do we value ourselves? And is our value based upon superficial things? Is it bad? Is it value? Is my value based upon superficial things? Um, there are a lot of times I think one can miss out on something great because we're superficial.
Right.
We're superficial. We're superficial, and because of the hand that life has dealt us, oftentimes we've lost any degree of patience. We've lost any degree of patience. We don't have the wherewithal to allow things to develop. We don't have the wherewithal to allow things to be organic. We don't have that patience to do so. And so either we become very dismissive and things never get a chance to grow, or we become one that becomes so, if you were quick to judgment, that it never had opportunity to take on life. And so one of the things I like to say when you talk about worthy of love, I believe this. I believe that your relationships or whatever you are cultivating has to be just that, cultivated, right? When a seed is planted in the ground, it plants in the ground and it germinates.
Absolutely.
Everything that it was meant to be is in that seed. When it germinates in the ground, I want you to hear this. Imagine what's happening. When it's in the ground, it is hidden from what? Plain sight.
Mm-hmm.
No one sees it because it's germinating in the ground. Everything that's happening is happening underneath the surface. And inside of that, as you cultivate it, as it's being nurtured, as it then begin to get light, as it photosynthesis and all those things happen, it now begins to sprout and it grows. It never grows overnight. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes one of the things that kill possibility of relationship is that we're too quick to show it. We didn't give it time to germinate out of plain sight. We didn't give it time, if you would, to be nurtured and cultivated out of plain sight. Why? Because it is those things that when we give it opportunity to nurture and cultivate out of plain sight, it is those things that will reveal character, that will reveal habits, that will reveal mind processes, that will reveal belief system, that will reveal, if you would, a person propensities and the things that they're about. But if we're so quick to put it in the light, sometimes we put it in the light too quickly and it what? Dies.
Mm-hmm.
Or we put it in the light too quickly and it ain't ready for it. It ain't ready for that light yet, right? You ever heard the thing? You ain't ready for the big stage yet. Sometimes what we got ain't ready for the big stage. It needs to be
Absolutely.
cultivated. But do
Must
we
be
have the
cultivated.
patience? Yeah. Do we have the patience to allow it to be cultivated? Or do we come with saying, if you don't come with this, if you don't come with that, you keep on pushing? Well, guess what? You're going to see a lot of folks keep on pushing. And guess what? You're going to be by yourself. And don't tell me you don't mind being by yourself, because the reality is just you do mind.
Mm-hmm.
But you're stuck on this image in your mind. You're stuck on this perfect perception in your mind. And you can't even phantom yourself having anything differently. And yet it's still God knows what you need, not just what you want. Because sometimes we're avoiding work. We want it to be ready, perfect. Nah, that don't cost you that. That don't cost anything from you, does it? But when your hands and your imprint is on that thing, when you've had a part in helping to shape that, not only are you more grateful, you're more appreciative, and guess what? You have the ability to be in agreement. Our problem is this. Too many of us, we're doing it because we enter the things because it looks good. But looks
Mm-hmm.
good to who?
Yeah, you made a point about your fingerprint. And, it's amazing how not one person on this earth has
Yes.
a duplicate fingerprint. That's just how unique we are as individuals. So why try and be a copy? Why try to be a copy of somebody else or somebody we saw or somebody we want to imagine to be? Be you, but be the best you, the best version of you, not the bitter, nasty, confused, talk about it and confusion type person that always like to keep gossip going and
Exactly.
always want to fight, always want to be confrontational. But be that best person of you. Be loving, being kind. You want someone to love you, be loving. You want somebody to treat you right, always be kind. Even God's word talk about love and kindness have I drawn thee.
Right. Right.
And I talk about being the other woman. The other woman is kind. The other woman is open to, so happy to have that person that they're willing to do whatever to make them happy. They don't mind rubbing that hair. They don't mind telling them how good they are, how magnificent, oh, how buff you are. They don't mind doing that. And it doesn't devalue who you are just because you're complimenting someone. It only embraces and fortifies that person to even want you even more, because what everybody wants validation, but what more better validation from that person that you say you love.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And here's the thing: why are we afraid to give that? Why
Mm,
are we afraid to give that? You said something very important. You know, at the end of the day, I don't care how glamorous you're looking, female. I don't care how much you think you got it going on. But if you are not sensitive to what's happening in my life, when you're not even attentive to the things that does concern me, then what value you bring? You just cute. You're just cute. You're just pretty. You're good looking, but you're not connected.
Mm.
You're
Wow.
not connected. You're not connected. You don't even have the wherewithal to understand, man, he's had a rough day. He's had a rough week. How do I speak to that? How do I minister to that?
That's called relationship.
Yeah, yeah. How do I make things better, even if it but for this moment?
Hmm.
But you know what happened? Well, I'm not gonna do anything like that because I don't know. I ain't gonna be used. I'm not gonna be nobody's fool. Really, nobody's fool. Boy, isn't that cute? What about being somebody's helpmate? What about being somebody's encourager? What about being someone who affirms someone? What about that?
Hmm.
Because by the same token, when a person is able to recognize you, to validate you, to acknowledge your existence, who cares enough to know how you're doing each day.
Every day. Every day.
Yeah, yeah,
Validate who you are. If you really love that person, now if you don't love them, then it's going to be hard for you to do. And then that person that you're in a relationship with can't validate you because they don't know how you feel. And they're afraid to even say, okay, I think she loves me. But then if they're not sure, then they'll be like, if this Sally is saying how much she appreciates me, maybe who I have, my significant other, really ain't into me like that. They only like what I do for them, but
exactly.
they don't like who I am as a person, the whole me. Dr. J, I always say my husband loves me naked. It doesn't matter, rather I have on weave or not. He'd be like, oh, wear your own hair. Well, I don't like my own hair because it's gray and I can't dye it. I'll put it in a ponytail and stuff. He'd be like, listen, you mean you're saying that? I said, no, I don't want to wear my gray hair. It's long and gray. But I'd say that to say that I'm still beautiful in his eyes, regardless.
Absolutely. Yeah. The old saying said beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And the thing about it is the fact, who's beholding? You see what I'm saying? And you don't need everybody else's opinion. You don't need everybody else's opinion in order to behold someone. If you
It
feel a
dictates
certain
your reality of
right,
where you are and who you are.
exactly.
But
You
we
got
always want that. We want our friends. A lot of times we want our friends to say, "Oh, girl, you got a good one. Oh,
yeah,
yeah, you got a fine one. Oh, you got it." Why not you say, "Yeah, I have a good man and he's good inside and out." Why not, you compliment him instead of the world complimenting your man?
yeah. Where you waiting on other people bandwagoner to jump on the bandwagon and then come along with it. No, no, you got to praise and appreciate what you have. That's where it goes. Because if nobody else sees anything in her or in him, you have to embrace what you see. At the end of the day, I often say this. I don't care how popular you may be. I know from my perspective, it doesn't matter how popular I may appear to be. It doesn't matter to me of how many people know my name, how many likes or shares, and all those things I have. What really means something to me are the people that I care about, the people that I know that has my back, that loves me unconditionally. See, what they think means a whole lot more to me than what the masses think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I never forget, Dr. Val. That's one of the things I will never forget. It's one of those moments that I look back on and I have my aha moments. And I remember in 2016, 17, when I was receiving the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. And I never forget that the MC had actually skipped my name because I'm following the program, but they were so excited to go. They skipped my name, and I knew that they did. And my kids and stuff was at the table. They're looking at me, and they see in my face like, "Dad, what's going on?" I said, "They skipped my name." So you sure? I said, "Yes, they did." And they saw me stand up. They're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Going, no, I need to go over here, to this table and let them know that they skipped my name." And when I got to the table to tell them over to the side, the person, oh no, they didn't skip your name, Dr. Franklin. They call your name. I said, precisely. I'm not Dr. Franklin. My name is Thicklin, right? And so they got the message up to the MC. And I'll never forget, inside of that, the MC made her way back and she called my name. She finally called my name. I was feeling some type of way. Well, I got up and she made up for it. She allowed me to actually have words to say. She hadn't given everybody opportunity to give an acceptance speech. And I gave the speech. It was a very short speech. But here's my point I made. It was a beautiful event. It was beautiful. Food was beautiful. Everything was beautiful. By the time I got back to my seat, I looked at my phone and my youngest son had texted me. Perhaps he had texted me before I ever got up. And these are the words it said. It said, Dad, you don't need an award to prove that you're the GOAT.
Okay.
Now, pardon my ignorance. I did not know. It didn't immediately appeal to, come to me. What did GOAT mean? Because
Right.
you had the word GOAT and it was covered. Every letter was covered by sheep hair. So I'm like, are you saying I'm old? And then it dawned on me, Dad, you don't need a reward in order for you to know that you're the GOAT, that you're great. When I read that and I understood it, there was something that came over me. And I promise you, had I read that before I ever got up, we could have left the table without the award. We could have went to Wendy's. I was satisfied because the people that mattered most validated and said,
There,
hey,
and they validated who you are.
you're the greatest. You don't need a reward. You don't need all those folks there in order to validate that you're great. And that's where we have to be. We have to understand this. Sometime when we have people in our life that truly love us, that'll be validation for us. But on the same side, we got to be in a place too to be able to receive that and to be able to give that. Give that. Don't worry about whether or not there's a cheerleading squad. Everybody might not think your significant other is the best thing since sliced bread. It ain't their job to think that they're the best thing since sliced bread. That's your responsibility.
Absolutely.
Don't miss out on possibilities. Don't miss out on something that could be great because you're looking for something that is perfect. Don't let good be the enemy of great.
Powerful and well said. And this month, as we said, is Mother's Day, and we
Yeah.
have some powerful women and mothers that have sown into us to allow us to simply be. And I want those of you that have had the opportunity to be raised by your mother or a mother figure,
Mhm.
because there's some powerful women that didn't give birth, but they've sown into the lives of individuals and allowed them to be who they are. I want to celebrate you and I want to thank you for being you. Thank you for being a woman. Thank you for walking in honor. Thank you for walking in integrity. Thank you for walking in your greatness and your elegance and your beauty. Thank you so much. And I celebrate all the mothers and all the mothers to be. Happy Mother's Day to you. And why I said that is because we're still here as women. And even if we're at a certain age where we're not able to give birth or have children, we can be mothers to young people coming up. Adopt someone emotionally and mentally to support them and who they are. The last couple of shows we've been talking about inheritance and legacy and what that looks like, what that means. And it's up to us women. Women, we carry such a heavy but light load, because it's just like giving birth. And once you pushed in travail and you get to see the greatness before you, it's like you didn't go through any pain at all. So, no, you may not have experienced that, but you can give birth to somebody's dreams and make their reality and allow that person that you sold into to walk and touch lives that you will never ever know or see. But because of you sowing love into their lives, because of you being affectionate, because of you being a loving, because you are being a woman of grace and integrity, allow individuals to grow and blossom into being the greater and best version of themselves. I thank you and I honor you for right now and for what's to come in your life. Remember my words. You're your greatest you. You're your greatest asset. And it's up to you to sow into their lives. Sow love. You're worthy of love, but we got to give love. We've got
Exactly.
to give it.
Exactly. Exactly right. And that's the thing that I hope that all do. I echo you in the Mother's Day greeting, and I salute to every mother. And I want to say this to every man. I'm going to say this to not only the mother, the woman. We don't. There's no legal interest into this earth except we come through a woman. Understand that. There's no legal interest, brother, into this earthly realm, but through a woman. And I'm going to say that not only should you love and cherish and honor the woman that you came through, but you should also still cherish and honor the woman that your children came through. Now, before you get upset, you and her
Absolutely.
may not be together. Y'all may have not been together for years. It still doesn't change the fact that she is the vehicle, the vessel that your seed in your child came through. It doesn't cost you anything to simply honor and respect. Matter of fact, brothers, that is one of the best things that you and I can do. The real sign, the real model to your children, especially your sons, is how do you honor their mothers? We didn't say you still had to be in love with her. That ship may have sailed, but that doesn't mean that you cannot honor her, respect her, because now it's a lesson within a lesson. It's a lesson within a lesson inside of that. So learn to honor, learn to respect, understand the fact that they went through labor for that child to come into this world. Brothers, we can talk all the smack we want to, but let me say something to you. We ain't bore no pain. We didn't go through no labor. We didn't go through any contraction. We didn't go through any of those things there. And so what we have to understand is that, especially during these times, give honor them. And not only honor them, honor those women. Let me hit the second side. Because some of you are fortunate enough to have had women to step into your life that have become a surrogate mother, or have become a bonus mother, or have become a mother to your children.
Yes.
They've stood up. They've taken them to games. They've made sure that it was all right. They did those things there. Brothers, don't be slack. Honor. Appreciate them. Appreciate them. It's not going to cost you anything. Appreciate them. Don't let your bitterness stop you from honoring them. Because at the end of the day, what are you modeling? What are
Absolutely.
you modeling? And brothers, we get it twisted sometimes. You get it twisted. I get it. You're no longer in love with her. I get it. You're no longer in a relationship with her. But if she is the mother of your child or your children, does not she deserve honor and respect? Honor, appreciate. Thank you for being the mother. Thank you for being up at night with them. Thank you for the sacrifice you made. Thank you for holding it down. It won't cost you anything, but it will yield you everything.
Ooh, that's powerful, Dr. J. And on
Yeah.
that note, we're ending tonight's show. But want to thank you so much for joining us on Hot Topics from the Soul. And don't forget to share the show if it's been a blessing to you. And if any of you have received anything, just drop us a note and say we appreciate the show, we appreciate the word, and we honor and we respect you. And again, happy Mother's Day for individuals that will be celebrating. Father's Day is coming up next month, and I know y'all don't get a lot of recognition, Dr. J, but we celebrate who we are. We celebrate the legacy. We celebrate life. We celebrate love. And I thank you for tuning in to Hot Topics from the Soul. And remember, you are worthy of love. You are so worthy of love, but you must also give love. Good night and God bless.